Sometimes people get famous for killing other human beings. Maybe they become a notorious serial killer or a revered war hero, but that's not what this episode is about. This is about people who are famous for reasons other than killing, who have, nonetheless, whether intentionally or by accident, taken a human life. Today, celebrities who killed people get deep fat fried. Hey everybody, welcome to Deep Fat Fried. How's it going out there in the universe? Everyone feeling good? You feeling magical? You feel the power and energy?
TJ.
Affirming life force just waving over you. Oh, it's so powerful. So magical.
You promised us this episode would not be violent.
Oh, it's going to be violent, Scotty. There's going to be bloodshed. This is going to be an X-rated episode of our show. There's fucking grisly, gruesome, live human decapitation.
It's fucking going to be
grisly.
TJ, as the great
brutal.
YouTube. Look, TJ.
Sickening.
I have a direct line to the YouTube censors, and this episode will not be allowed, TJ.
That's fine.
We can make it. Look, we can make it if you want, but it'll be censored completely.
We're uploading this shit to Live Leak. People are going to see. People need to see the grisly reality of what happens when people die. Then you see heads roll.
I've greased the path.
Yeah,
I've greased the path with Wojicki, and TJ can do whatever he wants. Bye, guys.
Oh, shit.
Bye.
Well, I guess we're fucked then. I heard that, too. I usually don't hear what Mickey says, but he broadcast it to me, too, so.
Dude, Mickey's
punished letting us know.
Paul's cam was
letting
clear.
us fucking know.
Dude, Paul's cam was clear, then Mickey came, and then Paul's cam got all blurry, dude.
Yep. Poor Paul.
He fucked me, dude?
Yeah, he fucked you up.
Dude, when I Mickey'd...
Fucked you, Paul.
That's fucked up.
Yo, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine, you blow my cam. Hey, Mickey. Anyway, you guys, I can sense that you guys are desperate to go on this adventure already. You don't even want to banter.
You know what, TJ? This episode's too violent. I'm just going to have to make a stand here. I'm a pacifist now.
You're a pacifist?
I reject violence. Yes, I reject
some
violence in all forms.
Let's sing
That's a funny mispronunciation of the word pussy.
We should just all join hands and sing songs.
Well, let's look at
know a song.
Let's look at the first murderer.
No.
Yep.
I told you we should all join hands and sing songs.
Matthew Broderick killed somebody.
Matthew Broderick
is a murdering piece of shit.
He's not a murderer.
He's a murderer.
He tragically accidentally killed somebody.
Kind of murdered them. I mean, do I think he planned it? I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
We have different names for that. Murder is when you planned it.
Paul, how do you know he didn't his dream wasn't to go to Ireland?
In the words of the Beastie Boys, can't stand it. I know you planned it. This Watergate. It's time we fucking told the truth about this cocksucker. He's a murdering piece of shit. You know it. I know it. We've all known it. From the very first time we saw him in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, we knew he was nothing but a no-good murdering sack of shit.
Well, of course.
And now we have the proof. Matthew Broderick is known, Scotty. Matthew Broderick is known for starring in films such as The Lion King, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Inspector Gadget, and Godzilla.
All films
However,
laden with violence, TJ.
Mm-hmm. However, he is less known for his killing of 2 women in Enniskillen, Ireland. It even has kill in the name, for fuck's sake.
Penisskillen,
Paul, do you deny
Ireland?
that? Do you deny this happened, Paul? He murdered 2 people in Ireland.
He didn't murder. I deny that he murdered them. I know that he tragically, accidentally killed a couple of people in Ireland.
He tragically murdered them in Ireland.
So on August 5th, 1987, Matthew was driving a rented BMW, a BMV 316 while on a lovely Irish getaway with actress Jennifer Grey.
And with no regard
Broderick,
for other
apparently not realizing what country he was in, crossed into the wrong lane and collided with a Volvo. The driver, Ann Gallagher, 28, and her mother, Margaret Doherty, 63, were both killed instantly. Matthew suffered from a collapsed lung, concussion, and fractured legs and ribs. Gray had minor injuries, including whiplash.
You know what that sounds like to me, TJ? The perfect cover.
Yeah.
Matthew Broderick could have died himself. Killed these 2 women. They're going too slow. He's like, you know what? No one's ruined my Irish vacation.
TJ?
It's like fucking stuntman Mike in Death Proof, dude. He's driving Jennifer Grey along. He's like, this car's 100% death proof. Unfortunately, to get the benefit of it, you really got to be sitting in my seat. Crashes the fucking car into oncoming traffic, killing everybody instantly. Everybody but him survived. He survived. Well, I guess Gray survived with whiplash, but he didn't realize that she was like super badass. So,
TJ,
but he still killed those 2 women in the other car. What?
I have ridden with you enough to know that it is by luck alone that you have not been involved in a super tragic car accident at some point. You drive like a fucking, I don't even know what can you call it? Like a mentally disabled person that has stolen their mom's keys and decided to go for a joyride.
I'm gonna go joyriding.
So the fact that you, of all people, would point a finger at innocent Matthew Broderick for a tragic mistake that he made in his past and say that he murdered 2 people in Ireland, TJ, is just asking, in my opinion, for karma to bite your ass, TJ.
Nope. You'd think that, but you'd be wrong.
I'm sorry to interrupt your beautiful story here, TJ, but I have to point out that, and I won't go into any details, but literally almost every person that's ever driven with TJ refuses to drive with TJ again. Like, they're scared fucking shitless of getting... Is that not true?
Oh, yeah.
Is that not true, TJ?
Let me just jerk myself off a little more, you guys. Come on. This ain't about me. This is about Matthew Broderick. How many people have I fucking run down?
Let me tell you something.
I don't know. How many have you run down?
How many people have I killed? As far as you guys are concerned, none.
Let me tell you something,
that I know of.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah?
I called TJ at like 2 a.m. one time. It was like, my girlfriend's leaving me, man, and I just need to get out of here. Can you come get me? Can I stay with you in Chelsea for the night and just figure it out tomorrow? And you were like, yeah, dude, I'll come get you. And I was really thankful for that. But I got to tell you, it was actually nice driving back with you because my broken heart was distracted by the white knuckle fucking retardism that you were pulling on the roads at 3 a.m. So, like, yeah, it was a good way to get my mind off of the subject. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna die. Oh dear God, TJ, you're not supposed to take a turn at 50 miles per hour.
I was like, I feel like I want to die, but I don't actually want to die.
I'm sorry. I mean, look, listen. I understand that. To people who don't know how to drive, my expert driving might be a little scary because I drive with such confidence and such zeal.
Your expert driving that just like drives into pillars and parking lots because you don't understand which way you're turning.
Well, that's
because
I was mad. All right, you fucking blinded me with anger in that instance, so don't get me angry. That's the point.
The fucking how the time that you drove from Mom's house to that place where it used to be a Fridays, and she basically took the keys from your hands. You're like, TJ, I'm not gonna ride. I'm never gonna fucking ride with you again. I'm driving home in your vehicle.
Yeah. Whatever. So,
What the truth? Whatever.
I haven't run. I mean, I have not killed anybody in my car yet.
That we know of.
That you know of. That you know of.
That we know.
Broderick told police that he had no recollection of the crash, and what I first remember is waking up in the hospital with a very strange feeling going on in my leg. Police charged Broderick with causing death by dangerous driving and faced several years in prison. Here he is.
Oh, what a faker, dude.
Bullshit.
Yeah, this does kind of reek of fakeness to me. This does kind of reek of like PR crutches. It kind of
because everyone knows that car is 100% death proof, dude.
Not only that,
made that shit.
Not only that, TJ, but I'm looking at this, and you know what vibe it instantly got me? That vibe of Harvey Weinstein hobbling up on crutches or on that walker to his fucking sentencing. So this kind of feels
sympathy.
This kind of feels poopy. This feels like he probably shouldn't be on those crutches, and just
ultimately though, Broderick was charged with careless driving and fined 100 pounds, basically about $175.
But that was back in like 80s money, though.
Yeah.
What was the cost?
That's like $1 million
to women's lives to Matthew Broderick?
Like
175 pounds.
Look it up.
The victims' families were understandably outraged and called the verdict a travesty of justice. Martin Doherty, the son of Margaret and brother of Anna, stated in 2003, "For many years after the accident, I was bitter, but I'm older now. Many years have passed, and in truth, I'd be delighted to meet Matthew. I think it is something that needs to be done for both of our sakes, a way to lay old Ghost to rest. It would help both of us. In the beginning, I was very angry. Did Matthew get off lightly because of who he was? In the end, he got the same punishment he would have got if he'd run over cattle. For almost 9 years, I would shy away from watching any of his movies. Lucky you in that respect, I guess. I wouldn't look at any news articles if he was in it. I just couldn't face it. You can't replace a mother or sister, but I know for certain they would not want any bitterness. I can understand why Matthew hasn't been in contact. He seems to accept he was in the wrong and probably wondered if he would be ripped apart. I want Matthew to know I forgive him. I believe we need to talk about things. We owe each other that. Matthew and Martin had planned to meet. However, Broderick chickened out and canceled the meeting.
I gotta be honest with you.
Claims the crash still haunts him to this day.
I gotta be honest with you, dude.
Bitch, dude.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I hope that I'm never in this position, but I can tell you one thing is for damn sure. That family, maybe not right away when they're in murder mode or whatever the fuck. Like, I understand why he didn't show up at their house the next day. Like, sorry that I killed your son or whatever and daughter. But you know what I mean? Like, eventually I'm going to reach out to that family myself without them out. And hey, dude, if they take a fucking swipe at me or whatever the fuck, like, I figure I've earned that, you know? Like, I'm not like the fact that he still has this lingering over this poor family and he's a public figure and hasn't been like, let's just meet so I can apologize to you.
So in 2003 that guy made that statement that, it was his mom and his sister that were killed. Yeah. He makes a statement. He's like, I want to forgive Matthew Broderick. I think we should meet and heal and get past this. Matthew Broderick agreed to it initially, but then chickened out and didn't go to it.
And then puss.
But then in 2012, he managed to piss off the family again.
By doing
with that same guy. He did in 2012 he did a Super Bowl commercial for Honda, which made Martin, the guy you just heard from a second ago, say that maybe he wasn't the greatest choice of drivers, knowing his past. This is just Matthew and fucking
Sarah Jessica Parker. Matthew and a horse.
Yeah, it's Matthew by his famous racehorse. So this is a long ass version of the fucking Honda ad. But yeah, it's like shows Matthew Broderick driving all over town and shit.
Hey TJ.
Yeah.
Do you know what Sarah Jessica Parker's favorite beer is, TJ?
No, what is it?
You really don't know?
But the Super Bowl's not for another few.
Yeah, I don't. Tell me.
You don't remember?
It's a now, TJ. I'm surprised you don't know this because I know Sarah. I see her at the upscale bougie bar that I go to now. Now listen, now TJ.
What's their favorite beer?
I'm trying to get to the point now, TJ, but you keep pulling me off the goddamn point. I'm trying to tell you, TJ.
I'm sorry.
It's just it's one of them. You know the beer with the bubbly. It's bubbly and it's golden. It's a can I get you know what? I might have one right now. It's just Stella Artois.
It's a what?
It's now, Scotty, were you not listening now? I told you which one.
I'm sorry.
This is the
out.
Is it no?
This is the actual picture of Matthew Broderick right after he hit those people. By the way, this is his exact reaction shot.
Damn, like, dude, I wonder what he was on. No wonder he hit him. Man. Did he drop some serious acid beforehand? He was like, you know what? I'm in the Irish countryside. I want to see what happens if I fucking take like 5 tabs of acid and go cruising.
It looks like he's just like driving through a parade, which seems consistent with his driving ability.
Yeah. So, the family was like, why is he's doing car commercials? Like, is he like, he's trying to rub this in our face now at this point?
I mean, I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think the fact that he's an actor and he makes money by like doing fucking commercials for shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he was like, fuck that family. I'm going to make money.
I mean, also, it's been like almost 30 years since that happened at this point. So it's
right,
not
but
like...
he never made amends though. Like he had a chance to go.
Okay, look at Matthew Broderick. He's a chicken shit. Clearly, dude, you can tell a chicken shit when you see one. Like he looks like a little fucking pussy that he wouldn't give a shit. He wouldn't meet you. If he killed me, TJ, he'd be like, and you're like, I want to meet you, Matthew Broderick. He'd be like, what does he look like? They show him a picture of you. He'd be like, hell no. Fuck that dude.
I'm scared.
Should have been in the road.
I'm Matthew Broderick and I'm scared. Poor Matthew Broderick, dude.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's so poor.
You guys feel bad for him?
Estate. Yeah.
You guys feel bad for Matthew Broderick?
Oh, so bad. Oh, poor Matthew. Please.
So let me ask you, do either of you guys recognize this dude?
Is this...
He looks familiar, but I cannot place his name.
Is he...
I'm just...
Is that Michaeletti Williamson or whatever, the guy that played Bubba in Forrest Gump?
No.
Oh, wait. No. Hold on. Is this the guy that played the black neighbor that had beef with the dude in The Mist?
No,
I don't think so, no.
Shit.
Am
I a racist because I just thought he was 2 different black guys?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Shit. But so this is Phil Lewis, okay? Now he might not be super recognizable to us because it wasn't the stuff he was in really wasn't too aimed towards our demographic. But Phil Lewis is an actor that has been on Disney's payroll for many years. He is basically the Stan Lee of Disney television, starring or cameoing in almost every single major Disney Channel show. He's also appeared in a few movies like City Slickers and shows like American Dad and Scrubs. So here's some of the shows he's been in all these kids. It's like kids shows. You think this is like Disney shit that's like way past our childhood. Hold on. So we have not seen any of this.
I'm going to go through all of this and tell you if I've ever seen an episode of any of this. No. I don't know what any of this is.
Yeah, I've heard of Hannah Montana, obviously.
I've heard of That's So Raven.
I've heard of That's So Raven. I've heard memes built around it.
I've heard of Lizzie McGuire, but I've never watched any of it. Like I was way too old for that shit.
I don't know any of this shit, but this guy apparently he pops up in all this shit. He's just like kind of their weird mascot, like the black guy that just appears in every Disney show. But before that, back in December of 1991, Phil killed a 21-year-old woman named Isabel Duarte after he slammed into her head while driving drunk. Head on while driving drunk. Sorry, not into her head, but her head was probably crushed too, so whatever. His alcohol level was 3 times the legal limit. So he was drunk driving, slammed head on into another driver, 21-year-old woman, killing her, I don't know if she died instantly or if she died later.
So
but,
what happened to him as a result of that?
So Lewis claimed he did not remember the crash, and his lawyer tried to argue that Lewis was not even driving, even though no evidence pointed to anyone else being in the car, let alone driving the
lawyer
car.
Shit. Yeah, scummy lawyer technique. He wasn't even driving. He wasn't even there.
If the man does not remember, Scotty, that the crash even happened, who are you to say that he wasn't with an associate that he does not remember getting into the car with, Scotty? Who are you to say, Scotty, that this man was the one that was driving? Are you an expert, Scotty?
That face when you get away with killing somebody.
This man is innocent. This man did not get away with killing somebody. He tragically made a mistake that led to the untimely and horrible death of another person. But a murderer, TJ, no. No.
There are no words for the pain I go through every day, Lewis told the sobbing Duarte family members. I want to say I'm sorry to the Duarte family and to my family. There is nothing I can do to change it, but if I'm allowed, there is something I can do for the future, he said. Phil was sentenced to 5 years in prison, 2 years of probation, and 350 hours of community service. Ultimately, Phil only served 1 year in prison due to his post-arrest work involving a prison-based theater troupe that performed in jails, schools, and churches.
That's right. Oh, so now you would indict my client for serving his sentence faithfully. And
too bad he wasn't white like Matthew Broderick. He would have fucking got off with more of a slap on the wrist.
Well, I mean, if he'd have had a better lawyer than me, I was hitting the ganja a little hard at that point in my life. I was saying slow.
I guess he also was drunk though, so like drunkenness.
It sounds like he actually. You know what? The difference with him, like, you know, he faced the court. He got sentenced. I mean, whatever, they reduced his sentence, obviously, because of his position. But at the same time, like, he at least met with the family, and there was like some degree of like, I fucked up here. You know what I mean? Like, he definitely like owned what he did. Matthew Broderick kind of just ran away from his problems. So it's like, I don't remember anything. Like, he claims he didn't remember anything too, but ultimately, he knew he fucked up.
I mean, and I got to be honest with you, this whole I don't remember anything stuff is very common. People that are involved in car accidents often don't remember the minutes leading up to, and certainly not after. People are knocked senseless. Like, neither of my parents remember anything after the lead up to the car accident, and even that didn't come to them until months and months
car
and
accidents
months.
are fucking.
Well, you know who really doesn't remember anything is Isabel Duarte, because she's fucking dead.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, yeah, that's
It's a fucking
true.
morbid episode, TJ.
Yeah, I know. TJ's here just like the fucking guy that's going to read the fucking obituary all night.
Oh.
This is Keith Moon, drummer for The Who.
The Who.
Yep.
Won't be fooled again, TJ.
How a group of Nazi skinheads led to a drunk Keith Moon accidentally killing his chauffeur. So, blah, 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 blah. We don't need to fucking know all the backstory.
It said accidentally.
Who and shit.
Accidentally killed the chauffeur.
It started when a group of skinheads attacked Moon at a bar. So, January 1970. Moon and a bunch of his friends were at a pub in London. They were noticed by a group of Nazi skinheads who weren't too happy to see him. The pub was frequented by working class people, mostly skinheads, who were offended by the way Moon conducted himself, from ordering expensive brandy instead of beer to arriving in a fancy car. Okay. So a bunch of skinheads are like, fuck this rich piece of shit.
I mean, I will admit
they hated
that,
Moon's.
like, you need to, like, if you're going to go to, like, a local drinking spot, you need to kind of be aware of the people that are there and what they do, because it does matter. Like, there's just some place, like, you can walk into most any place as long as you're willing to go with whatever the flow of that place is.
Right.
But there are some places that you just can't, like, walk in and be completely different than everybody in those places. That's like people see those bars as an extension of their like homes,
right?
And so it's like some fucking rich fuck, like one of these fucking like soft ass rich fucks just showed up in his Bentley and ordered brandy in my fucking pub. Like, this really had nothing to do with them being neo-Nazi skinheads. That might just be salacious bullshit that's poured on top of this. It might be true. But trust me.
He's the rich cocksucker that shows up to the local pub where everyone's just chilling, like, I'll take some brandy.
So
these ruffians here.
Keith Moon shows up, some skinheads, or maybe they're not skinheads. Maybe they're just working stiffs or whatever the fuck.
We
They're
don't
probably
know.
both.
Whatever they
yeah.
are, probably maybe both, maybe neither. Who fucking knows? Who cares? They don't like the way that he's fucking flaunting his wealth in
don't like
their
the cut of
face
his
in their
jib.
bar. They don't like the cut of his fucking jib, as Scotty would say. So anyway, when blah 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 blah. So they hated Moon's show of wealth. When Moon and his entourage got into the Bentley Neil Boland had pulled around, the skinheads attacked the group. They threw coins and rocks at the car and began rocking it, preventing Moon from leaving. Boland, who was initially driving, got out of the car to confront the skinheads. That was when things went south for the driver. When Boland realized the skinheads were preventing the group from being able to leave the scene, he most likely decided to get out of the car to confront them. Although investigators were unsure whether or not Boland exited the car on his own or was dragged out in the chaos, it was likely that he chose to get out as he was also Moon's bodyguard. However, Boland was no match for the angry skinheads who chased him down a ways and began beating him. Boland ended up in front of the car and was run over when Moon began to drive away. So this guy who's so Keith Moon's bodyguard / chauffeur gets out of the car to fight these Nazis. Moon freaks out, gets in the driver's seat himself, starts trying to drive away, and ends up running over his chauffeur, who's already getting the shit beat out of him by Nazis in the process.
Okay. That's kind of a pussy maneuver there. That's like the ultimate pussy maneuver.
You got that, bro? All right, let's drive off, man. Fuck this.
That would
Get out of here.
That would like being the first soldier to retreat, who then turns around and starts firing on the other soldiers who waited until the order was given because he thinks they're the enemy or whatever.
They're after me.
Fire. Oh, shit.
So,
What the fuck, dude?
Boland's head was completely crushed by the car. As the group drunkenly drove away from the chaos, more people began shouting at the car. At first, Moon and the others in the car assumed it was continued harassment from the pub. However, when they pulled over about 100 yards down the road to get help, they realized they had been chased by regular civilians who were trying to tell them that someone was pinned underneath the car. It turned out that Boland had somehow ended up underneath the Bentley when Moon drove it away from the pub. Unfortunately, no one in the car noticed, and Boland was dragged the entire 100 yards down the road. Perhaps the most gruesome and devastating detail of the ordeal was that when Moon reached underneath the car for Boland, he pulled out brains, as Boland's head had been utterly crushed by the car. Boland was declared dead on arrival at the hospital. Yeah, no shit.
Fuck, dude.
Well, yeah, his head was smashed to fucking pieces, and he was dragged.
Not too many people survive. Yeah, my head was completely crushed, but I'm fine now. Boland was there because Moon anticipated getting drunk. Basically just says the reason he had a chauffeur in the first place because he knew he was going to get fucking shit-faced.
Oh, because he was responsible. Yeah, let's indict him on that. This evil rich fuck that ran someone over brought his own designated driver because he intended to get drunk, something none of us have ever done publicly. No.
Moon was charged with driving drunk. He was breathalyzed at the scene, driving without a license or insurance, and with Boland's death. After being cleared of all charges related to Boland's death, Moon pled guilty to the driving charges. The teenagers involved in the fracas, however, didn't get off so easy. 5 of the 8 brought to trial were found guilty and were let off with fines. They blamed the Moons for their behavior, Keith for ordering a large brandy, and Kim for refusing them a ride home in the Bentley. They were bitter that a rich rock star got off with a slap on the wrist while they were fined. Well, I mean, you guys
then they
started the shit.
I mean, like, honestly, like, you should have finished the shit in a way that didn't allow him to fucking call the cops on you. Like, if you wanted to deal with this dude, there are ways you probably could have done it, and he would have been like, a couple of guys beat me up in the alleyway, and they beat up my fucking bodyguard too. What did they look like? I don't know, average fucking pub guys. I didn't see their faces. And that would have been
I mean,
it.
he was there with a whole like entourage of people, so there was pretty much that wasn't going to happen.
Well, then they should have just taken their fucking.
Here's what they should have done: not given a shit that there's some rock star drinking brandy in their fucking bar. Because
you
it
know
doesn't
what?
actually affect them at all.
You say that, but when we went to that fucking bar in Gadsden, dude, there's definitely a fucking vibe at bars where it's like
Yeah.
And they're like some bars are really accepting and opening, and they don't give a shit who comes in there as long as you're fucking cool. They don't care. But there's bars where it's like if you ain't from that area and you don't know how to fucking act, people are just gonna be like, "Who the fuck is this? Why are they here?"
I found that to be the case more often. Honestly, you go to the bar and then you're just like, I remember at that fucking one bar we went in Toledo, the bar owner, or at least whoever was running the bar that night, was like super like interrogating me and shit. Like, what the fuck is this? What's going on here? I want to fucking break a goddamn chair over that son of a bitch's head, but whatever.
You and Paul just got so angry that night. There was something weird in the air.
I don't like when motherfuckers start interrogating me because I brought people to a bar.
But dude, that never happens to me. That always happens to like you.
I just don't like shitty
I'm
ass.
a weirdo.
I just don't
I
like
should have just thrown that
ass-
motherfucker off the damn patio of his bar and been like, fuck this place, guys. It's ruled by a fucking cocksucker. Throw him to his death and get out of here.
I just don't like shitty ass, busted ass, broken ass, fucking like industry has left ass, sad ass fucking Toledo with its one shining fucking jewel of that brand new stadium standing out like a pimple of progress amongst a sea of fucking corruption, just bombed out buildings and fucking third world looking streets where people used to live and work.
Well, let's be
Like,
clear.
fuck that place. The vibe
I had fun at that meetup, but when I go to Toledo of my own volition, no, I have no desire to go to Toledo.
When I heard we were doing a meetup in Toledo, I remember coming to you guys privately going, why the fuck are we going to Toledo? Like, I'd never even been to Toledo and I knew it was a shithole.
Well, I think you know why.
Well, no, I know exactly why we went, and you guys explained it to me then, and I was like, oh. Yeah. Now, the meetup was cool. I had fun at the meetup, and actually the venue we had the meetup at was cool, too.
Yeah, if only I would have... I don't know why that venue chose to close, because there's other bars on that street that didn't close that
made
time,
no sense.
So.
That was the biggest bitch fan I ever met, though, where the guy wore his shirt, and I drew some on. He's like, that was the shirt my dead grandma gave to me.
It's like, well, now
everybody.
Now there's a drawing on it, dumbass. Why would you wear like a precious item to a big raucous party, you dumb fuck?
Yeah, look, I brought this priceless heirloom, this vase, to this party. Oh, thanks, man.
That was my great-great-grandmama's rare Ming vase. Like,
fuck off.
Get out of here. Fuck you.
Yeah, I remember well, you know what? He finally stopped. He came up to TJ and like, your brother did this. TJ's like, I don't give a fuck what he did. I don't give a fuck about you. And they downed some alcohol and just like turned away from the guy. And the guy was like,
Go Power Rangers.
What, did a Power Ranger kill somebody?
Go Power Rangers. You mighty morphin Power Rangers.
Dude, this is one of those Zoomer Rangers. He's a pretender to the Red Ranger fucking outfit.
There's been like 10,000 versions of the Power Rangers, but
there's been 10,000. Hold on, Scotty. Yes. Or sorry, TJ. I mix you up sometimes. Hold on, TJ. There have been 10,000 imitations of the Power Rangers.
Everyone knows you don't even like the original Power Rangers.
There is one Red Ranger, TJ, and I think you know that to be true. There is.
Yeah. What was his name?
I don't remember what his name. His name was the Red Ranger.
Yeah. So this guy here is Ricardo Medina Jr. Mm-hmm. He's an actor, most known for his roles on various Power Rangers TV shows, including Power Rangers Wild Force and Power Rangers Super Samurai.
Bullshit.
On February 1st, 2015, Medina stabbed his roommate, Joshua Sutter, with a replica Conan the Barbarian sword at their home in Green Valley, California.
Okay, that's pretty fucking cool.
All right, that's metal.
It's bad that someone was murdered, but like he killed him with like he had the sword of Conan. He like fucking pulls it from the wall like you fucked with me. Ugh. I mean, I wouldn't do that personally, but that's pretty fucking metal. That's a pretty brutal fucking way to kill somebody.
So the argument
the Power Ranger
was
shit went to his head, clearly.
The argument was apparently over Medina's girlfriend that turned into a multiple room brawl that ended in death when Sutter forced his way into Medina's bedroom. Medina pled guilty to one felony count of voluntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 6 years in prison on March 30th, 2017.
So he'll be getting out, probably soon with good behavior, I'd imagine.
Let's take
guys,
a look.
We shouldn't talk too much shit. I mean, you saw what happened to the last guy.
This is a story about
I love
it
how the
here.
I love how the dudes that accidentally get in a car accident and kill people, TJ's all like, this scum fuck. But the dude that literally pulls a Conan sword off the wall, he's just like, oh yeah, and then he killed a dude. Anyway, moving on. It's like, what?
So he brutally
Well, we're not
murdered,
moving on. We're not moving on. We're still on this story. Don't worry.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Now to the former star of the hit kids show Power Rangers in court this morning, accused of stabbing his roommate to death with a sword.
Wrong. He's not a
Conan
star.
the Barbarian sword.
Ricardo Medina Jr. called 911 himself after the fatal altercation. ABC's Kendis Gibson has that story for us.
Yeah.
Best known as the sword-wielding Power Ranger. Red line bang! This morning, after
Rangers in court.
Damn it.
Accused of using a sword in real life. Police say to kill his roommate.
That's pretty cool that he killed someone with the same kind of weapon that he wielded on the show.
Yeah.
You know, you could say it was an audition gone wrong, you know, or like a
Dude,
you know,
the
it was
worst
just
thing about that guy's
rehearsing a
death
scene.
is he had to know he was killed by a Power Ranger. It's like, God, I was fucking killed by the Red Ranger.
Yeah.
No,
I bet his last thought was like, I knew I shouldn't have fucked with a Power Ranger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He
Like,
should
In their
know.
Southern California home.
But he couldn't help it. It wasn't his fault.
Police say the 36-year-old actor got into an argument with his housemate Joshua Sutter Saturday. Medina claims he and his girlfriend then retreated to his bedroom when he says Sutter forced his way in. That's when cops say Medina picked up the sword, fatally stabbing Sutter in the abdomen. It's Medina who then called 911 from the scene.
The victim was
I mean, you know, seems reasonable. Someone
I mean,
if you're
he
in an
forced
argument
his
with
way
someone,
in. He had the sword of
they-
Conan. I mean, what do you do?
yeah, they bust into your room. I mean, you know, they're looking to do violence to you. You got to fucking defend yourself. You got to take that sword of Conan
It's
off
that
the
case of
wall, and
self-defense,
you got to
dude.
jam it through that motherfucker.
well, I mean,
It seems-
clearly the
Seems pretty reasonable to me. So I mean, like, this is very different than Matthew Broderick knowingly murdering those people in Ireland.
Well, no, the
with his
state of
car.
California felt a little differently about whether or not you should
A
pull the
corrupt
sword
state
of
of California.
Yeah,
that does
okay,
not
California,
defend property
this-
owners' rights, Paul.
The state where victims are constantly going to jail. for
Property
defending
owner
themselves.
rights, Paul.
Oh, yeah, it
Castle
never
doctrine,
happens in
dude.
any
You're the
other
king of the
state.
castle, Paul. This guy broke in.
pronounced dead at
This guy
the
broke
hospital.
in, Paul,
Welcome
and
back.
tried to kill him.
I'm cool.
Medina, who starred in
No, you're not cool. You're the Red Ranger.
Dude,
in Power
He
Rangers.
broke into
You
his
got-
room, Paul.
You guys are salty because you grew up in this fucking swampy shithole. I hate California because I was born
in
up
California,
in
though.
the swamp.
I was
Yeah.
born in California.
Oh, well, you were
Yeah,
raised
Actually, we're
here,
born in
though.
California.
Power Rangers.
You were
while
both
on the force
brought
in
up here,
2002,
though,
Yeah.
for the most part.
Went on to land
All right. Well, next video is his sentencing. Actually,
Unjustly.
His just sentencing in the
Unjustly.
honorable
Hollywood actor has been
state
unjust,
level
Paul.
court.
attacking his
No.
roommate with a sword and killing him. A judge in Lancaster sentenced this man, Ricardo
innocent
Medina,
man.
to 6 years in prison. Medina appeared in the popular children's TV series Power Rangers, and he pleaded guilty to stabbing Josh Sutter to death with a sword in 2015 after an argument. Well, today the victim's family talked about their pain.
We also hope that everyone that looks at Ricardo from now on will never see him as a celebrity.
I don't think anyone ever did. He was
Yeah,
in
how-
the Power Rangers. I mean,
Yeah, I mean this.
know what I mean?
This pretty much sealed the deal on that. So yeah, you don't got to worry about that guy.
Yeah, that's done.
But as nothing more than a cold-blooded killer.
what an asshole.
Who?
Your son was a fucking psycho that broke into a room where two people were like trying to hide from him. This dude shouldn't even go into jail.
Prosecutors
You
say
don't.
the two
You
were
don't know
arguing
what
about
happened.
making
You
it.
weren't.
I know what
fucking
happened.
there.
I know what
You're-
happened. Why would he if he really killed this motherfucker in cold blood, like they're trying to say here?
Uh-huh.
Like, why would he call 911 immediately afterwards and try to get help? Like, he
I
was obviously
mean-
pushed into this circumstance where he felt like he had no recourse but to use lethal
Maybe
fucking
because
force
life,
against this guy.
maybe because life isn't a movie and people don't decide to become like criminals on the lam usually. Like he probably realized like, hey, this is going to go way better for me if I just admit that I pulled the sword off the wall and killed this dude for no reason.
Should have pled not guilty.
Then
Well,
why
you
didn't
don't know
he
self-defense.
then? Why didn't he
Well, you
then?
can't do it for no reason. I mean, obviously there was a reason he was killed. I mean, I don't think it was just arbitrary. Like he, I'm kicking your door and I'm gonna kill you.
I mean, if somebody was like, I'm coming in through your door to kill you, and I stabbed somebody in the gut and they died, I would not go down I would not plead guilty to murder or manslaughter.
Exactly. In crooked California, you might end up having to do exactly that.
California, dude.
What does crooked California have to do with this dude pleading the way he pleads?
Because you know what? If this dude had been in a reasonable state, like the great state of Louisiana, where justice actually means something, this guy would be walking free right now.
If anyone comes into your house and you kill them, it will not even be questioned. A just system, if there ever was one.
In Louisiana, if someone sneezes and you get spooked and you shoot him in the head,
shit,
self-defense. That's self-defense. It's a reasonable state. How about Caitlyn Jenner, huh? Caitlyn Jenner killing people all over.
I knew about this one because of South Park. I mean, South Park really.
South Park hammered this.
They really rammed it home.
So Caitlyn Jenner, of the of Olympics fame, Keeping Up with the Kardashians fame. By the way, tragic that show was canceled. Tragic. Considered a transgender icon to many. However, some are unaware of her dark past. I think most people are aware, honestly, thanks to like South Park and shit like that.
That's a spicy meatball, TJ.
That's a spicy ass meatball, Scotty.
Fuck, dude, that whole front end is just done.
So in February of 2015, Caitlyn's SUV struck animal rights activist Kim Howe's car on Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu, California, causing a multiple car accident. There are conflicting reports as to whether or not Caitlyn was distracted by her cell phone at the time of the crash.
So I've spent time driving all up and down the PCH in California.
Yeah, same.
It is a beautiful stretch of road. It's sometimes pretty congested, but it's beautiful because it literally runs right along the coast, especially in the area of Southern and Central California. So the PCH is beautiful, and to hit somebody and kill somebody on that road, you have to be doing something pretty fucking stupid.
Well, Caitlyn Jenner here blames paparazzi for a fatal car crash. Caitlyn Jenner says paparazzi are at fault for involvement in a car crash that killed a woman in February 2015. Her attorney added photographs and photo agencies referred to as stalker defendants to an existing cross complaint against Jessica Steindorf, another driver who was involved in the crash, reports ET. The court docs allege that the photographers were stalking Jenner, chasing Jenner, and harassing Jenner throughout the day up through the time of the incident. Stalker defendants and others acting in concert with them continuously, negligently, and recklessly operated their vehicles, tracking Jenner, speeding up to tailgate Jenner, and driving too close to take pictures, the documents claim. The complainant added that Jenner was adhering to laws and speed limits because of the paparazzi. Jenner says she was visually distracted and that the photographer's behavior did contribute to the cause of an accident where seconds of and split seconds mattered. Jennifer wants the paparazzi and Steindorf to be held legally responsible for some or all of the damages sought by the occupants of the Hummer that was also involved in the multiple car collision. So trying to say it was stalking paparazzi that are truly to blame for what happened. We're not ready for this yet. What the hell? Hold on.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, you can't discount the fact that if you feel like you're chased and harassed by a group of people, that's not going to affect your judgment. But who knows if that's true or not? That just sounds like a very solid, like, legal defense. Like, hey, these people are around me, and I felt threatened, so I drove erratically and didn't notice that this person was, in front of me or whatever, so I hit them.
This is one of those oh, go ahead.
Well, here's some actual footage of the crash, I guess.
Oh, okay. What? Well, that's kind of weird. Can you go back to the beginning?
Yeah.
So it's like she's gonna get in a turn lane.
So there's the Escalade there.
Okay, no. So she's in the Escalade. She's not in the white car.
No, she's in the black Escalade.
Okay.
So it looks like she hit that white car in the rear and caused it to veer into the oncoming lane and hit another car. And then hit the car in front of them. So if you look at the footage here, she's hit that car, and now she hit that car.
And
so
that sends that car careening.
Go back one more time, TJ.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't want
so
to
stop
being
it.
chased.
Stop it. Can you pause it? Okay, yeah. So she's already hit this car in the back, sending it kind of careening into the oncoming lanes. And then she goes on to hit the car that's directly in front of her. And I guess she's claiming that these are paparazzi. Were the people killed in this crash paparazzo?
I don't think so.
I don't believe, yeah.
So what is the excuse then? She's towing a giant beast of a fucking thing behind her.
Yep.
There's like a big, looks like a what do they call them? ATV or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I don't see in this video anyway any paparazzi.
It looks like a big ass fucking go-kart, like a big sand buggy or a dune buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just being negligent.
By the way, totally common thing for people that are driving this particular stretch of the PCH in Malibu to be carrying in the direction that she's heading. She's heading towards the Central Coast where there's tons of dunes.
Right.
So I got to be honest with you. What it looks to me like here is that she was going way too fast, towing a load that was way too heavy, and struck a couple of cars as she came up on a slowdown in traffic. Like, if the two people that she hit were not paparazzos, how did this defense work?
I have no idea.
Where's the paparazzo in this? You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
see him.
Did you look into that, TJ? Neither of the people that she hit in either of those cars were paparazzo?
No.
So what's this? How did this defense hold up?
I don't know. I don't even know if that was. I don't even know if that was a. I don't even know if that was a legal defense or if that was just the media defense. But
okay.
Here is a. Here's Caitlyn Jenner talking about the incident.
Yep.
What do you remember about the accident?
Very little. I remember it happening, and that's about it.
Caitlyn Jenner opens up about that fatal car crash for the first time.
You're on ET. Trending.
The I Am Kate star spoke with the Today Show's Matt Lauer about the fatal 4-car crash she was involved in earlier this year in Malibu. 69-year-old Kim Howe was killed and 7
Listen
others
to the soundtrack.
were injured as a result.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Sounds like the Terminator's about to show up and kill everybody. Da-na-na. I keep waiting for that. I keep waiting for that.
Last month, the Malibu Lost Hills Sheriff's Department told ET that Jenner could be charged with misdemeanor vehicular manslaughter.
It seems like the worst case scenario, you could spend a year in a county jail. Have you been able to even think about that?
The media wants that picture, don't they? That is the worst case scenario. I don't know. We'll see. The men's county jail. It is an enormous problem that they would put trans women in a men's county jail. Yeah. But those are things we're looking into.
In May, Jenner was hit with a wrongful death suit by Howe's stepchildren, who claim that she was careless, negligent, and reckless at the time of the crash. They are seeking unspecified damages.
Obviously, it's something I'm in litigation I can't really talk about. Something like this, a tragedy like this, you'll never get over it. You just learn to live with it the best.
So have either of you guys ever towed anything like a car behind something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you both know, like, when you're towing something super heavy behind you, like that trailer and that big dune buggy that's on that trailer are, even if you're in a very powerful car, it augments how fast you can brake and how you have to maneuver that car.
Oh, completely.
And from what I saw, dude, if those people weren't paparazzo who were so close to the front of the car trying to get this driver shot of her, that she hit them and killed them, then it looks to me like she just kind of fucking like didn't know how fast she was going and didn't know how much longer it was going to take for the brakes on that Escalade to stop all that extra weight.
Yeah. So prosecutors ultimately decided not to press charges against Caitlyn. However, several lawsuits were filed against Caitlyn Jenner from people she injured and relatives of.
Let me guess. Settled out of civil court.
Kim Howe. Yeah, this is you see right here that the matter was settled for about $800,000.
That's usually not made public, so that's interesting that they made it public.
Yeah. So yeah, they do settle for $800,000.
So $500,000 is going to the 74-year-old grandmother of one of who was sitting in the back
of the Hummer when the car crashed. Jenner is
she
finally
was in the
settled
Hummer.
I will say this. If you settle like this, I mean, one, you definitely it's because you're trying to avoid a public thing, because she wouldn't have paid out $800,000 if they had a rock solid case. Like, no, you didn't do anything wrong. Like,
right.
There's no way.
She skated on this and probably should have went to prison for killing these people negligently
Why
with
does
her car.
Sid Vicious want to be in here so bad? Sid, we're not ready for you.
Boy, isn't it great to be a celeb and have $800,000 you can just toss around?
Oddly enough,
money. It's basically blood
oddly
money.
enough, some people speculate. Well, Caitlyn Jenner came out as transgender only a few months after this car crash, leading many to claim that the timing of her coming out story was used to cover up media attention from the accident. That seems pretty unlikely, but
I mean, like, here's the thing. This is the fucked up thing about the world that we live in, is that I wouldn't put it past that happening in the world. I'm not saying past Caitlyn Jenner. I wouldn't put it past anybody, any celebrity that I don't know, not to do something like that. But there's no way that you're ever going to prove that unless there's tape of Bruce Jenner going like, you know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. To dodge this car shit, I'm going to become a woman. No. I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy. Just like, hear me out. Right now is the best, like if there's some tape like that, I want to hear it. I'm interested in hearing it. But other than that, you gotta just
We can do like a Trump thing, just like a Bob Woodward for Caitlyn Jenner, and be like, "So what happened with the whole crash?" Then, I was totally distracted.
The problem is most celebrities, including Caitlyn Jenner here, are not stupid enough to call Bob Woodward and confess all their crimes.
Only our president's dumb enough to do that.
only our president. Okay,
Look,
hold on. Don't say who this is. Is this okay? Fuck, I know this dude. Okay, I know he's a wrestler. It's not Sabu, is it?
Nope.
No.
This is Richie Sambuca? Richie?
Nope.
I do not know who it is.
I know who this fucking guy is, dude. He's an older wrestler guy.
He looks very like 80ish, like there. Like it looks like an 80s.
Man, I feel bad that I don't know who this dude is. What's his name, Teach?
This is Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Snuka. Dude. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This dude was one of the original top rope artist guys. He was known for getting up on that top rope and fucking jumping off and dropping the elbow and the leg on people at a time when really nobody was doing that. So he kind of like he wasn't the first dude to do it. There was a lot of dudes in luchas doing it before him. He kind of took it from them, but he kind of popularized. Dude, I can't believe I couldn't remember Snuka's name, dude.
One of the first mainstream high flyers. I got
Jimmy Superfly Snuka, dude.
This one gets this one gets a little bit more conspiratorial, maybe, but whatever. So Jimmy Superfly Snuka is a Fijian American professional wrestler who has best known for his time with the WWF, currently WWE, of course, where he feuded with the likes of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat,
another high flyer, by the way. Ricky the Dragon,
$1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Ravishing Rick Rude, and the Honky Tonk Man.
Do you guys remember Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at all?
Oh yeah, he was great. He had a great classic match with Macho Man.
Yeah, he was basically, his gimmick was basically, I'm Bruce Lee. Like that was basically his wrestler gimmick, was like he was super like kung fu dude.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool. He had a lot of class. I got to see him fight Rowdy Roddy Piper live. when I was a kid at the Selland Arena in Fresno. It was cool.
That's pretty cool.
I actually got to see Superfly wrestle too. A lot of these old dudes came through. I don't know.
Yeah.
I miss this era of wrestling. Who did he kill?
Sadly, Jimmy is also known for getting away with the murder of his girlfriend, Nancy Argentino.
She had it coming.
Vince McMahon, CEO of the WWF, currently WWE, is rumored to have helped cover up the murder.
She had it coming. She had it coming. She had it coming all along.
This almost assuredly comes from, like, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's a big thing with a lot of these former wrestlers where they have these, like, I forget what the exact term is in the wrestling vernacular is, but whatever. But basically, they pay these wrestlers to, like, it's like a dirt sheet almost.
Yeah.
And they'll dish on this shit. So I guarantee you that they paid some wrestler from this time period that, you know, was unemployed, like, yeah, he killed her. He told me one time, you know, like, I had to take care of that problem or something. I guarantee you there's some shit out there. That's probably why this is a long-standing rumor.
So this is an excerpt from Jimmy Snuka's autobiography. Shortly after Nancy's death, I was questioned by police and let go. At one point, I went with Vince McMahon Jr. to either a court or law office. I don't remember which because I was still in shock. All I remember is he had a briefcase with him. I don't know what happened. I think Vince Jr. picked me up from the hotel and took me there. He didn't say anything to me. I don't know if he gave Nancy's family money or anything.
Okay.
So this is an article about the incident. The unsolved murder hanging over Jimmy Superfly Snuka's career. So, the controversy surrounding the late Jimmy Superfly Snuka and the death of his former girlfriend Nancy Argentino was featured in one of the Dark Side of the Ring episodes. Although Snuka was among one of the most popular stars in WWE history, there was a dark cloud hovering over the WWE Hall of Fame throughout his career. In the early 1980s, Snuka, a native of the Fiji Islands, was one of the top babyface wrestlers in WWF. One of his most memorable moments that has been part of video reels for years was his match against Don Morocco at Madison Square Garden in New York. Jimmy Snuka jumped 15 feet high off the top of the steel cage with his Superfly smash and crashed on Morocco, which received a thunderous ovation from the crowd. On May 11th, 1983, Nancy Argentino was brought to the Lehigh Valley Hospital due to suffering a head injury. Unfortunately, at 1:50 a.m., Argentina was pronounced dead. She had just turned 23 years old, less than 2 months prior. According to Deputy Coroner Wayne E. Snyder of the Weber Funeral Home in Allentown, Pennsylvania, the official cause of death was craniocerebral injuries. On May 10th, emergency responders went to the George Washington Motor Lodge in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where Snuka and Argentino were staying in separate rooms, while other superstars were at the lodge in other rooms. Nancy was unconscious in the hotel room on the bed. A frantic Snuka told paramedic Shirley Reeve they must have wrestled a little bit too much the night before. He pushed her over and she hit her head. The two went to bed. Snuka left the next morning to go to his wrestling match and came back to Nancy unconscious. Prior to this, there was an incident where Snuka and Argentino got into a fight, and Snuka was dragging her by her hair across the wall and floor. Snuka started to resist arrest, fighting both police and police dogs. Snuka was arrested on charges of assault and harassment. However, Nancy wrote a statement to clear Snuka of the charges. He ended up pleading guilty to a minor charge of harassment and donated $1,500 to a local Ronald McDonald House. Snuka told several people that he pushed her.
Wait a minute, what?
And yes,
$1,500. Look,
dude, he's gotten off cheaper than anybody so far. Superfly, you fucking piece of shit.
The woman I abused, she says I'm innocent, and I'm gonna give Ronald McDonald House $1,500. You're free to go, sir.
Snuka told several people that he pushed her and she hit her head. However, Snuka rescinded this account and changed it to Nancy slipping and falling along the highway while taking a bathroom break. A few weeks later, Snuka was interviewed by Lehigh County authorities and spoke to Vince McMahon. McMahon stated that they will cooperate with authorities, and Snuka was released with no charges. Snuka returned to competing for the World Wrestling Federation following these charges.
That's
2 years
just
after her death,
adorable.
Argentino's family sued Snuka for a wrongful death charge, but never received any money of the $500,000 judgment.
That's fucking
So
adorable, dude.
There was a
just
judgment
great.
against him, but he didn't pay a dime of it.
Basically, Vince McMahon's like, this guy is too valuable to the company. Oh, he's innocent. You know, this is a big misunderstanding. Well, sir, we can't just look the other way. There's been a homicide here. I advise you to look at that briefcase, sir, and reconsider what you've just said to me. Never mind. He's Jimmy Superfly Snuka. He's free to go.
Dude, I've got
Keep
this.
wrestling.
You guys have seen that movie Chicago, right? That's based on the play.
Yes.
I've got this picture because, like, I've always thought about that. Like, I'm like, you know, this is like a feminist kind of icon of a, you know, the song I'm talking about, the Murderer's Row or whatever song.
If you'd have been there,
right?
If you'd have seen it, yeah.
And it's basically women justifying murder in various ways.
It's okay because he was a pig or whatever,
right?
You know.
And I'm fine with that. I'm not morally outraged with that, but I've always thought that they should do like a sequel to that and call it like New York or whatever, you know, just do it in a different place and have that same song, but a bunch of dudes. And I was trying to imagine in my head what Superfly Snukas would have been. You know what I mean? You know how they give that, they monologue into it. Like he would have been like,
how they talk about, you know,
he would have been like,
he fucking had it coming.
I probably don't even need to tell you who I am. Jimmy Superfly Snuka mean anything to you? Yeah, that's right. I was at the top of the WWF at the time where being at the top meant you were really at the top. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people think the life of a superstar must be easy. It's all champagne and roses. Yeah, there was that. But let me tell you, we deal with stresses that the average man, he doesn't have to. And when you go home to your castle at night, you hope for a little bit of peace and quiet after having the shit beat out of you all day. But what do you get? Nag, nag, nag. I need more money, Jimmy. I need another purse, Jimmy. The new car you bought me 2 years ago is broken, Jimmy, now. And I need a new one. And one night, the dollar amount got too high. And the whole thing got too stinky. And when she snapped her fingers in my face, I pushed her down the stairs and snapped her fucking neck. She had it coming. She had it coming. I just want that shit, dude. I want it now.
So the family got pissed, of course, at this cover-up, and they were actually able to unseal a copy of the autopsy report, which stated, after review of the history and complete autopsy of the body of Miss Nancy Argentino, death is attributed to craniocerebral injury, the pattern of which is consistent with a moving head striking a stationary object, but is not consistent with a simple fall in view of the multitudes of other scalp, facial, and bodily bruises and abrasions.
He raged out and shoved her into the wall so hard that he broke her fucking skull, basically.
The report also stated the multiplicity and magnitude of the injuries may even be suggestive of mate abuse. In addition, the report stated that Argentino's clothing was checked due to the claim that she had slipped and fell on the berm of the road. The conclusion of the finding, no evidence of dirt or tears of the fabric was found. The hair and scalp were also examined at the time of the autopsy, and no gravel or other similar dirt particles were noted.
Evidence was found of that bullshit story? Are you sure? Did they check thoroughly?
In view of the autopsy finding and the discrepancies in the clinical history, I believe this case should be investigated as a homicide until proven otherwise. So then Jimmy Snuka was arrested for third-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah, no shit.
In 2013, the district attorney reopened the case. On September 1st, 2015, Jimmy Snuka was charged with third-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. During the series of hearings, Snuka's lawyer stated that he suffered traumatic brain injuries which caused severe damage. As a result, he felt that the 1996 WWE Hall of Fame inductee was incompetent to stand trial. The angle was that the pro wrestler's dementia, his dementia was so bad that he was mentally unable to proceed on trial for his these criminal allegations.
The Chris Benoit defense, dude.
I guess they bought it because in January of 2017, Judge Kelly Banash dismissed the charges, deeming Snuka incompetent to stand trial.
Dude,
However,
Snuka just crapped his pants, dude. He crapped his fucking pants and like went in the courtroom like,
I don't know what did. My head too
All right,
stupid from all those years on Wrestle. Yeah, whatever. I don't even care at this point. You weren't fucking completely without your senses when you smashed this woman's fucking skull.
So in May of 2016, psychiatrist Dr. John O'Brien believed that Snuka could be feigning his injuries, reporting he was able to turn it on, present himself in a way that's not consistent with how he functions. And there was little evidence from the medical reports to show that Snuka suffered from repeated concussions or brain injuries.
Wow.
He also stated that references of Snuka's cognitive impairment did not show up until the trial was reopened.
Sociopath, dude.
Shocking.
This is some sociopathic bullshit if I've ever heard it.
Yeah, he just killed this woman.
I don't know where I'm at. I took too many chairs to the head. It's like, come on.
But then in January 15th of 2017, Jimmy Snuka died at the age of 73 from a stomach cancer battle. Yeah, and he pretty much never fucking really suffered any repercussions for this probable murder, at least voluntary manslaughter that he committed.
Snuka was a good wrestler, dude, but he was a piece of shit person apparently, because it's pretty obvious to me from what you told us that just revealed in this article that he killed this woman.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I mean, you could claim second-degree murder, like crime of passion or some shit like that, but he definitely murdered her.
So here is Mr. USA Tony Atlas dishing on this Snuka shit.
All right.
Wrestlers about the whole Jimmy Snuka murder situation, and when I finished reading your book, I read that your ex-wife,
she was his girlfriend at the time. Was one of his girlfriends. She used to date him
because the girl that passed away, I guess that was
they was buddies. Well, they was buddies. They hung out together, and she was in the room when the incident happened, and she said, "What did he hit her?" He went to get some cocaine. She came back with nothing. He just went.
So apparently there was also a witness to this incident that was never uncovered in any of the fucking previous shit.
An 8-ball that day, and he came up off that bed and he hit her, broke her neck, and that's what she said. Now I wasn't there, but and then she ran out the room, and she left her purse, and she started dating me, hoping that she'd get her purse back from him. But I didn't. I mean, dude, I don't know what happened to that purse.
What was the talk in the back like? Because you were in there at this time when all that went.
Well, what ended up happening in the wrestling world, once stuff like that happened, the talk is no talk. If you talk about it, you get in trouble. Snuka at that time was a big star, so Vince didn't want to hear it. You know, you had to protect the business because, you know, he was with the WWE. So Vince knew that this gonna hurt the company. So if I get her talking about it, spreading rumor, it's kind of like the Bruiser Brody thing. I come back to the dressing room, nobody want to talk about it. They talk about it now because Carlos Colon is not as big in the wrestling world as he was during that time. But during the time of the murder, it was hush hush.
He just outright calls it a murder, so he's probably one of the people that heard straight from Jimmy that he fucking pushed this chick, and then he rescinded the fucking.
Well, he said that the girl he was dating at the time was like there to witness it.
Right.
I mean, that's hearsay, I guess, but
whatever. It. You know what, dude? Like, I believe I've seen enough of this shit to
he
know.
knows the business. I mean, so he's basically saying, like, if there's a problem like this, they don't want to know about it. It's like, look, we're gonna fix the problem. That's the end of the problem. You talk about the problem, you're gone. You're in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're making that,
discuss-
I mean, like,
don't
think
even
about the level of
discuss it.
money. I mean, Vince McMahon is looking at like the fucking millions of dollars he's making off this guy's back, and he's going, I don't give a fuck who.
Vince
who
is a
this bitch
motherfucking snake, dude. As soon as, and I have this prediction that I made a long time ago. I think the Zoomers are going to be an edgy generation. I think they already are, and they're already revealing themselves to be the like a pushback generation, kind of like the '90s kids were, kind of like Gen X was against like the straight laced '80s yuppie culture and shit. I think that like this new like everything you say means. I think they've already shown that they've, you know, not necessarily just the Zoomers, but a lot of the fucking, I don't know what came before after the millennials, but before the Zoomers, or is that?
I think it was
it's
right.
millennials and it's Zoomers, I believe.
So I think a lot of like late millennials were already doing that. I think a lot of that led to Donald Trump getting elected. You know what I mean? and so I think that this next generation is probably going to be pretty fucking cynical and is gonna look at all of this stuff and make hay with it.
I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, like, it's kind of how, like, music is the great example of that. It's like, oh, my parents listen to shit, and then they think, of course, the parents think the kids listen to shit, and then of course they have kids, and they think, oh, mom and dad, your guys' music sucks, and that's not always the case though. But I mean, you get that a lot of the time. But music is one of those things where it's like it's very generational.
Yeah.
So there's some people that are obviously like, and like I'll talk about music, but if I talk to kids that are like 13 or 14, it's like, yeah, Nirvana, and they're just like, who's that? Like, they don't know shit like that.
I've seen like clips of people asking like Zoomers about their Nirvana. I'm wearing one now. About their Nirvana shirts, going like, "Oh yeah, Nirvana, I really like them," and they're just like, "Yeah, I just like the shirt. I think the shirt's cool and the logo's cool. I don't really know anything. I've seen pictures or whatever, but just like, I've had to come to peace with that shit, dude. I've had to come to peace with that shit. Like I got to be honest with you. Most people in our audience probably don't know who this is. It's like they're looking at this, going like, "Who the fuck is that?" Like,
who the fuck is this piece of shit? This piece of shit who's been trying to appear before his time in this fucking thing for some reason.
That sounds completely appropriate.
This is
Sid Vicious.
Yeah, this is Suicide Sid, dude.
Yep. An English bassist and vocalist known mainly for his role in the English punk rock band Sex Pistols. Shockingly, he was implicated in the murder of his American girlfriend, Nancy Spungen, at the height of his career.
That's our dad. That was our dad's least favorite movie. Sid and Nancy.
It's like depressing fucking movie. Fucking depressing fucking movie. It's like, what did you expect, dumbass?
What do you
think?
Sid...
Jesus Christ.
Well,
I thought it was going to be an uplifting tale of love.
He liked romantic comedy, so it probably had to do with the fucking fact that he thought it was like a love story. Instead, it's a fucking guy ends up murdering his fucking girlfriend.
Yeah. On October 12th, 1978, the body of 20-year-old Nancy Spungen was discovered on the bathroom floor at the Chelsea Hotel in New York. She had suffered a single stab wound to the abdomen. Sid Vicious was later arrested on suspicion of murder.
You know what? You know what this picture makes me realize? Like that,
what?
Not this one. This one's horrible.
Not this one of her being dead.
That previous one. That picture makes me realize what a template chick with a drug problem and a hard luck story looked like back in the 90s. Because if you had told me that was Courtney Love sitting there with Sid Vicious,
yep.
Go back.
You're absolutely right. It does look a lot like Courtney Love.
Dude, can you go back one? Yeah, I want to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is like 70s Courtney Love.
Yeah. I mean, like Courtney Love was at a total template. Anyway, this is horrible. Can we not look at a corpse?
No, you can.
Yeah.
Look at it, Paul. Look at it.
Murdered by someone that
the
they
events.
care about them.
The events were reported as follows: at 2:30 a.m., Spungen asked Vicious's bodyguard to get some, basically some opioids. I can't pronounce the exact brand or kind, but it was basically she wanted some opioids. At 7:30 a.m., the sound of a female in distress could be heard coming from the room only Vicious and Spungen shared. At 10 a.m., Vicious called reception to ask for help, and Nancy's body was found slumped under the bathroom sink, as you can see here. Vicious confessed to the crime, but later recanted his confession and claimed he had been asleep the whole time. In 1979, Vicious was released on bail, and days later, his mother found his lifeless body in bed. He had overdosed on heroin at 21 years old. The punk rocker was never tried for the murder, but he probably would have been convicted if he had.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like he was like, well, I can go out, I can OD, or I can go to fucking prison and do all that shit.
So here's the bed where Sid Vicious died. I can't tell if he's actually in it because this photo is pretty low quality, but you know.
Yeah.
Here's the time reporting on the death. I think there's actually, I don't know, it's kind of long actually, but you know, let's go take a little peek at some of it.
Well, you brought it up, TJ.
Wendy, the former member of the Sex Pistols, had been accused. beating up somebody. Some weeks ago, Vicious tried to commit suicide by cutting his wrists. One day after he was let out on bail, he died this morning. Bob Teague traces the final hours in the life of this tormented young man.
When police arrived at this 5-story brownstone on Bank Street in the Village, they found the body in a ground floor bedroom. Sid Vicious, the punk rock star, dead from an overdose of heroin. The dead man's mother had discovered the body at noon today when she went to awaken him.
You know what I've just discovered, dude?
What's that?
Those fucking mutton chops and how fucking awesome they look on this dude right now.
Mutton chops.
Man, I just
so
hope,
salacious, but it sounds so official. You know what I mean?
Yeah, mutton chops.
Found dead of a heroin overdose at noon.
Michelle Robinson. Miss Robinson, asleep at the time, was not aware that her boyfriend had died during the night. The story told to police by Miss Robinson and the dead man's mother goes like this. Sid Vicious, awaiting trial for the murder of a former girlfriend, had been released on bail yesterday from the prison on Rikers Island. He came here at 6 p.m. His mother and Miss Robinson had arranged a celebration in Miss Robinson's village apartment. About 10 friends came to the party. It continued until 2 a.m. Sid Vicious, they say, had been happy and jovial, talking at length about a comeback and a bright future in showbiz. Around midnight, he injected himself with heroin. A bad reaction followed. He regained and lost consciousness 3 or 4 times, they say, but eventually seemed to recover. He went to bed with his girlfriend at 3 a.m. and seemed to be all right. But Sid Vicious, police say, died from an overdose of heroin, and there was no indication of foul play. On Bank Street in the Village, Bob Teague, News Center 4.
And there you have it.
So it wasn't even really a remorseful thing. He was like really happy and like, oh, whatever, she's dead. Then he got really fucked up and died.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was like sad, like, oh, gotta end it all. No, he was like partying and talking about his big comeback and stuff.
No,
it's like, I'm gonna fucking beat these charges and I'm gonna fucking go on to have a legendary fucking career. Now let me do this heroin. Oh shit.
It's
I think I'm fine. I'm just gonna go to bed. Dead.
It's some fucking I don't know, dude. Sid's like he died like a typical rock star. I guess that's the best way to put it. Like he died in rock star fashion, which is kind of sad. The good old OD, because I'm untouchable, because I'm the king of the fucking world, bitch. Fuck you. Here I'm gonna slam.
But you gotta have
them.
You gotta have those people to have the real rock stars, though, Paul. Because I mean, like a lot of people are not going to qualify in that club, but you gotta have them so you know that, like, hey, that club does exist. You can be one of those rock stars that, like, you know, you're gonna have a promising career, but instead you're gonna stab your girlfriend, then overdose on heroin at your celebration party for like, I'm gonna get away with it. Woohoo!
Yeah.
You can live that
this.
Oh, Don, I know about this one.
What about this American fucking hero here, huh?
Yeah, he killed his own mother. That son of a bitch.
I am a real American.
No, Don King is a guy that when I was a kid, because like boxing was a big deal when I was a kid. My parents were into it.
Dude.
And like pretty much everybody used to be into boxing. I was just lamenting the other day, like we were scrolling through, I think I'm Showtime right now is what I have, or one of the two. But it has a bunch of boxing. And my girlfriend was like, we can watch some boxing if you want. And I was like, boxing used to be cool. But boxing kind of sucks now. But yeah, Don King, like I always thought that he was just like a big friendly grandpa character that helped out the boxers. You know what I mean? Like that's what I thought of Don King. I'd see him at every boxing match waving 2 American flags and smiling just like this and putting his thumbs up at the camera, and he would hug the boxer that he was there to support or whatever and mug for the cameras. And I thought, there's the old boxing grandpa.
Yeah, a little bit more sinister of a guy than that.
Yeah.
So the truth behind the multiple murders of Don King.
Whoops.
I've heard about
so this is from Don King is currently 88 years old. He's famous for his work as a boxing promoter in which he represented stars such as Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, and Larry Holmes, just to name a few. Despite his shiny roster of athletes, Don King is far from cherished. In fact, most of his life is shrouded in controversy. Most of the men he represented sued him. He went to trial for murder twice and has even been accused of stealing from charity donations. So he got
sounds like a great guy. The boxing
we don't
grandpa
need to
for
get too
sure.
much into the lawsuits. We just want to talk about the here we go. So King is known to have killed 2 men. However, he still walks free. So Hillary Brown, not too many men named Hillary, but whatever.
It used to be way more common.
In 1954, Don King ran an illegal gambling establishment. One evening, he walked in to find a man named Hillary Brown allegedly stealing money. King shot the man. When he went to court, King claimed self-defense. The court, after hearing the argument, ruled it a justified homicide, and King went free.
Taking my money.
Sam Garrett. In 1966, King killed again. Sam Garrett worked for King and ended up owing his employer $600. In the street, King was witnessed stomping and kicking Sam's head at least 3 times, and others also report having seen him beat Sam with a gun. The man's last words, according to witnesses, were, "I'll give you the money, Don."
Oh, my God.
When this case went to trial, the charge was dropped from second-degree murder to voluntary manslaughter. Voluntary manslaughter is defined as murder committed in a fit of passion due to a situation where a reasonable person becomes emotionally or mentally disturbed to the point that they cannot control their emotions. Apparently, a rich man missing $600 is considered a reasonable situation in which to lose one's cool so badly that they kill. Don King was found guilty for voluntary manslaughter and served 3 years and 11 months until he was pardoned by the governor. For years, Cleveland City Council had been planning to name a street after Don King. In 2016, it was revealed that the street they had chosen was none other than the very street King had killed Sam Garrett on.
Wow.
People were understandably horrified, and the council did not explain their choice.
I think it's clear.
Damn, dude.
So this is actually a video about these murders. This is actually about the death of Sam Garrett, the second guy that he killed.
Let's see.
And King, you're gonna. I don't want to play the whole thing, but I do want to play the prosecutor talking about some of the unusual circumstances around this death. I think they start talking about around here.
Grossing $15,000 a day. A previously undisclosed FBI document reports that King was kicking back a portion of his profits to the Cleveland Mafia in return for protection of his numbers operation. I also learned new information about the Sam Garrett murder case. Detective Tawney told me he was offered what he believes was a bribe.
Probably the fall of '66. I got approached by an attorney. He says, "You know, Tony, Donald can do a lot for you." And I knew what he meant right away, and I said, "Well, forget it."
Police reports allege that King spent $30,000 to buy off witnesses to the killing. It seemed to work. None showed up to testify at the trial. But based on the eyewitness account of Detective Tawney, a jury convicted Don King of second-degree murder after just 4 hours of deliberation. Then, in a highly unusual move, the judge met with King and his lawyer and reduced the jury's murder verdict down to manslaughter. Nobody from the prosecutor's office was present at the meeting.
If we didn't involve robbery,
Carl DeLau was Tunney's boss in the homicide unit. He suspects the case was fixed.
But definitely, why would that reduction of penalty from second-degree murder to manslaughter take place on a Saturday morning without the proper authorities being notified?
Why indeed?
Makes one wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, it almost seems like you're hooked up with the mob and you're making them a lot of money, that somehow like your murder case just gets fixed. Crazy.
So Don King, even in 1966, was powerful enough to grease enough palms and to basically, even though he was convicted of second-degree murder, his lawyer and him met the judge, and the judge is like, "You know what,
dude?
Voluntary manslaughter."
Yeah.
One time.
So here's a briefcase filled with money. Okay, yeah, suddenly you're free to go, sir.
Dude, one time when I was in my 20s, and you guys can imagine me doing this because this is a very me thing to do. I was talking about Don King with some of my friends, We were all sitting around. There's like 2 or 3 of us sitting around getting stoned and talking Don King. And I was like, man, I think all these boxers that sued Don King are just salty motherfuckers, man. He helped these motherfuckers become what they are. He supported them.
Probably because you still were on some level holding on to that childhood, like, boxing grandpa.
Exactly.
Thing, you know?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was doing. And then one of my friends was just like, yeah, dude, you know, Don King was a cool guy, except for that time when he killed a couple of guys. And I was like, what? Don King never fucking killed anybody, bitch. And he jumped on, you know, the internet and showed me. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, whatever. He still helped him out, you know.
He helped him.
Boxers still
he helped
salty.
him leave this world.
That's an ad hominem. Just because he murdered a couple of guys don't mean these boxers ain't salty, man. The correlation doesn't equal causation, bro.
All right, so the end of this clip is going to be King himself talking about his version of what happened.
Something was very radically wrong, and it was a miscarriage.
In a fist fight, and what I call frustrations of the ghetto expressing themselves. When you're dealing with
King served 4 years and got out of prison in 1971. He later gave his version of the homicide to a British reporter.
How did you kill a man in a fist fight? Well, we was fighting one another, and we was kicking one another, and his head hit the concrete. And it must have been a pretty bad blow, which I've suffered deep contrition for since it happened. But nevertheless, I was instrumental in the fatality of a fellow human being whom happened to be one of my personal friends. Unfortunately for me, they found out that I was Don King, the guy that was running the numbers. Now the sensationalism came into play. Don King...
You know, you murder one person, and all of a sudden, when they find out you're Don King, the sensationalism comes into play. Yeah. Who I was
poor guy.
And how connected I was, that didn't help me. That hurt me.
Guilty of one murder. You're guilty of one murder, and people want to call you a murderer forever. You know what I mean?
But the only reason Don King didn't publicly murder a third person is because he's probably like, first time, yeah. Second time, but if I do a third time, like publicly, like, yeah, then I might go to prison.
I mean, I would
King's
say
like, I need to make sure the rest of my murders are on the
discreet.
DL, you know? Discreet murders. Discreet.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, but if anyone believes that this is the only 2 murders that Don King was involved in, they're fucking naive as fuck.
The numbers Baron, the numbers Czar, the numbers Kingpin. So they begin to try me for numbers rather than for an accidental death and the fatality of a fellow human being.
As to allegations that he
an accidental death and a fatality of a human being.
And in 1983, King was able to obtain a full pardon from the governor of Ohio for the Sam Garrett killing.
I'd be smiling too. Oh, yeah, got away with another murder. Woohoo!
Money.
So just 20 years later, he's like, could I have a pardon for that? And the governor's like, yeah.
I mean, look,
you
how
gave
much
all kinds of money to my campaign. I'll pardon you for anything.
Yeah, I mean, probably not even that much back then. Like $100,000. Yeah, you got a pardon.
You know what, Don? If you feel like you need to commit some more murders, you have the first one on the house. It's on us. You know?
Good old boxing grandpa, man.
Yeah, boxing grandpa. What a nice man. With his American flags and his big old smile. And he hugs the boxing man before he boxes. He's just there to offer support and friendship.
It's like these
what
people.
A wonderful man.
These people want to label me a murderer because, you know, I'm Don King, known multiple murderer. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Isn't that crazy? Can you believe it? Can you believe someone would call me a fucking murderer?
One of them was an accidental killing, and one ended up in the fatality of a human being.
I just love the language.
And people would call me a murderer. They want to be like, that guy murders people because a couple of times I murdered people. It's like saying that dude eats hamburgers because you are known to order hamburgers. It's ridiculous.
And then he gets off and he gets a fucking pardon, dude.
The governor knew how ridiculous it was, clearly. And when I say knew how ridiculous it was, I mean the size of the check that he probably got cut from Don King to remodel his kitchen or whatever the fuck it was for that pardon. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of great.
Well, they said he was making $15,000 a day at least. I mean, like him writing a check for $100,000 is nothing.
I mean, that's $15,000 a day in the 60s. So, yeah.
You know, I mean, like, and King pretty much destroyed this guy over a matter of $600. Then he spends $30,000 fucking buying all the jurors.
A personal friend of
buying
his,
up all the witnesses.
TJ, a personal friend of his, and he were tragically engaged in an argument, as sometimes men do, TJ. Have I never seen you have a fist fight with your brother, TJ? Have I not witnessed on multiple occasions violence done against your brother by you and towards you by your brother, TJ? Men are known to get into fights, TJ. And a very good friend of my client just happened, TJ. Happened to get into one of those regrettable situations. That man's head happened to hit the concrete in the wrong way, and a man's life was lost, TJ. And Don King served his time for that. He did his civil duty to that, TJ. Yeah. For you to say anything different about this man is ridiculous.
A human fatality. A human fatality, TJ.
For you to
and
say
that resulted in a human fatality.
For you to say anything else about that regrettable accidental death and the incident that led to the fatality of a human being, TJ.
I will
if
say
you were to
this,
say one more thing about it other than Don King is an innocent man, TJ, you would be a very, very unwise man, TJ.
All right. Well, you know what? I will say this. Whatever Don King may have done, whatever Jimmy Snuka may have done, whatever Sid Vicious may have done, I think we can all agree the real monster here is fucking Matthew Broderick.
TJ,
we can all agree on that, right?
I have to agree, man.
Don't make me do it to you, TJ.
No, listen, I'm just saying.
Look, Paul, he went on a killing spree in Ireland. He killed those women. He probably would have killed more.
I mean, if all the clear-cut cases of just straight up first-degree murder that we discussed here, I mean, this is the one that's just unambiguous. Like, he is 100% culpable, 100% guilty. He did it. And, I know that because who but a cold-blooded murderer could fucking honestly read the script for Inspector Gadget and still sign on that fucking dotted line? You know what I mean?
The views of TJ do not necessarily and usually do not reflect the views of his other hosts or Pessimist Productions as an entity and should be taken as things that TJ has said on his own and of their own volition as a solo entity.
Yep.
I think Matthew Broderick did nothing wrong. I think that Matthew Broderick is actually a good actor, TJ. Right here on this screen, there are a couple of shitty movies and a couple of really great movies. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you may not like it, but it's considered by many people to be a classic of 80s comedy. The Lion King is considered by many people to be the finest animated feature Disney ever made. I'm one of those people.
Sure.
I think that when it comes to quality, there hasn't been one that has rivaled The Lion King overall. It's not my favorite, but Matthew Broderick also great as the straight man in the underrated 90s comedy Cable Guy. What do you want? How much do you want to piss on this guy's career and good name by calling him a murderer, TJ?
I didn't look. I'm just.
Any other crimes you want?
I'm
to
beholden
accuse?
to the facts. I mean, I'm beholden to the facts.
People
man.
People review facts. And they have to. Make
we've looked at the
we've looked
at the fucking hardcore facts, and
can you
I don't want to believe that Matthew Broderick is a cold-blooded
planned to
murderer
go to
any more than
Ireland.
you do.
Yes. Did he plan to drive a car? Yes, we know these are facts, right? He planned to drive the car. He was in the car. There's no denying he was in the car.
Here's some more
facts. He planned his route carefully. He knew where those women would be, and maliciously and knowingly took a path, claiming he did not know which country he was in. Was he under the influence of drugs? Who knows? Was he under the influence of some sort of substance? Who knows? Slammed in the back of that car, killing them both instantly, Paul. Cold-blooded murder.
Well,
and that pretty much says it all. That pretty much says it all.
All right. Well, good luck with the lawsuit coming at you from various celebrities that are still alive tonight. I think that everybody that was featured tonight is innocent of any charges. And those that aren't have served their time. And, I'll be excluded from that lawsuit. Thank you very much.
Sure. That's all. I mean, that's really all that needs to be said. Matthew Broderick's murderer, the end. Bye.